All right, welcome everyone back to another episode of the TreeCoin podcast. Remember to click here and subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications, and get started. So I'm really excited today to be joined with a good friend and work colleague, Barath Kris. Welcome, Barath, to the show.
Thanks for having me, Sylph. Pleasure to be here.
So the people who've been watching at home and following along, Damien and I are doing a lot of podcasts with a lot of special guests, and we bring on people. We've had a couple of good TreeCoin shareholders, and I've been waiting for a little while to be able to have you on the show because you double up in some interesting roles. Like you're a shareholder of TreeCoin, but also you joined us as like a technical lead, and your company, Appomate, helped us do the initial start from idea to the first iteration of TreeCoin and the portal. So what I thought it'd be fun to chat about would be your experience as an app developer and running an app company as CEO of Appomate.
So,
That whole process of how a founder comes up with an
yeah,
idea
yeah,
and how does it turn from an idea into a downloadable thing.
sure, sure.
So I
No, I'm
thought
excited. I'm excited for the conversation.
yeah, look, and it's great to have you because we've been we've been good friends for a couple of years now, and
Yeah,
and your input into TreeCoin's been invaluable.
yeah,
So maybe we'll start there. I know obviously you've been involved in lots of founders and their journeys developing apps
yeah,
for decades. Um, and you come into TreeCoin through Damien, through the TreeCoin CEO.
yeah,
Um, and then when you first found us, we were definitely at that phase where
yeah,
we had a lot of strategy written, a lot of scope. We had the philosophical idea of how we wanted it to play out, the economic strategy, but we didn't have any. We hadn't even started building an app, and we just had an idea. So, talk to us. Like, you must meet lots of founders
yeah.
who get in touch with you at that point.
Yes.
What's that point like, and what's your usual response to them?
Um, I'm not sure how much studying we can do. My phone is going off. I need to turn
That's
it off
okay.
now. Oh, give me 1 second.
That's all good.
I need to
It's
put it
the
on.
it's the fun of the modern world, hey? Especially when you're interviewing someone who's the CEO of another company.
Yeah, I thought I put my phone on silent when I did the Riverside podcast setup because I had to do that for
Mm-mm.
download the app.
Oh,
But
that's
anyway,
all good. No, I deeply appreciate that you make the time out of your
okay.
busy schedule to join us. So,
Cool. Yeah, I got the phone on do not disturb now. Yeah, I guess the first place I want to start to is yeah, like it's been really great being part of TreeCoin. Yeah, so thanks for having me be part of the team. It's really a special opportunity to be part of it. You know, and what got me into this project, not just as a development partner, but as an investor, is like both your passion and Damien's passion for what you guys are doing
well, thank you.
and also the vision you have for this. It's big bold vision. Think about
Yes,
big bold vision. This is like one of the biggest boldest vision that I've come across.
thank you.
So yeah, so it's amazing, like the intention of reforesting the world, reforesting the earth, and doing that while generating wealth. It's such a meaningful journey to be part of, so thanks for having me.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I suppose, when I remember our very first meeting, when
Yeah,
we sat down,
yeah,
and basically you asked us, well, what's the idea? And we'd given you a bit of pitch of the idea,
yeah,
and we had said to you, you might have even asked, what have you got so far? Have you done any scope of the development?
yeah,
And we were
yeah,
like, no. Like, I have an IT background.
yeah,
My other company, I run an IT asset management company. So
yeah.
I've been involved in SaaS, but
Hmm.
I hadn't previously owned a software company before
Sure.
5 or 6 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah,
So I was even new to this, and you really helped us to just distill what the steps were going
yeah,
to be.
yeah,
Could you talk
yeah,
to us a bit about maybe not
yeah.
just TreeCoin, but when a founder comes to you and says,
Sure.
"Hey,
Yeah,
Appomate,
yeah.
I've got this idea," what's
Mm,
your
mm.
usual response to
Yeah,
them?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the first thing I'm want to clarify here is the steps could look a little bit different for different founders,
Right,
right? And it depends on where they are, in the journey at the moment, right? And also the type of startup,
right.
right? So it's important to talk about that because there is so much information out there. just trying to generalize the process of going from idea to live. You do the design, you do the development, you do the test, and that's what they talk about as a process. But it's really important to think about, like, where are we at, right?
Right.
And what kind of business is this, right? And in terms of like talking about where are we at, it's people have ideas, but how much validation they have done about the idea could look very different,
Yep.
right? Some idea is super solid, it already got like strong feasibility, the viability is pretty strong there. If you're there, like if you've got 8, 9, 10 out of 10 viability for the business model and what it is, of course you can just straight away jump into designing the prototype of the product,
Yep.
which is typically the first step, right? You design a prototype of the product.
Yep.
But that's only when you have a clear idea of the viability of the project. Right? But a lot of founders haven't done much work on that.
Yep.
Right? And I've been doing this for almost 14 years now. I started the business in 2011 November, right? And the biggest issue has been that, right? People jumping too quickly onto development just because they have this idea without doing any kind of validation.
Have you noticed a trend? Is that increasing, do you think? Like over the 14 years that you've been running Appomate, do you think that you've been getting more people come to you earlier in that stage because maybe they're seeing advertising on the internet, like, got an app idea, click this AI tool and just have it made in 5 seconds, like, or is it still just the same? It's been the same number of people from 14 years ago, or is it becoming more?
I would say, it's probably still the same percentage of people that that try to start their idea without validation.
Right.
I think especially in Australia, we have this mindset of keeping it all secret. So founders have this thing about, I'm going to sign NDA, I'm going to keep this idea secret, and I want to launch my product almost in stealth mode.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that kind of gets in the way of them being able to validate, because they're so scared of talking about their idea in the market, putting it out there and getting validation before building it, because there is this fear of, what if they just steal my idea and someone else build it?
Yep.
Right. And
do you think that's really, like, is it a realistic fear that people have, or is it just
most of the time it's not. Most of the time, the cost of building it in stealth mode always overweighs the benefit of being open, getting feedback, knowing what your customer thinks. It's too much to lose by keeping it in stealth mode.
Right. Because I've noticed with TreeCoin, we obviously think the idea is great.
Yeah.
And the amount of work that it's taken to build TreeCoin to its current point is just absolutely mind-blowingly massive. And so it is funny to think, if I just was mentioning it at a cafe, the chances that the person next to me would suddenly embark on a 5-year, really solid hard work project for that are quite slim. So there probably wasn't a risk.
Yeah. I talk about it as like having a good balance. You can still have some privacy. You can still sign NDA with people you're having conversations with. You still can do a testing on a very closed group. So you're not just, so you can still have some level of privacy in how you do the validation process, but skipping the validation process entirely because you just need to keep the idea so secret, that's not the best approach.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I would say, again, based on our learning in 14 years, our process has been constantly changing. But just going back to your question, like what I think about the process, the first step is doing some market research and validation. And the best way to do validation is to engage with customers, right? Engage with potential customers. So, before, you have to do like a fancy, product MVP to do that initial customer engagement. But now you can do it simple landing page and a prototype. Right? And that's what we help founders with as first step these days. Before you go and build the MVP, create a sales landing page, right? Because it's not only validating your product, but being able to validate the marketing message. Right? What message is going to resonate with my customers? If I put this message online, if I have this landing page, would people actually come and sign up for it? Right? Right? And then you have the Figma prototype, which is just a clickable interactive prototype of your product, which shows the
Yep.
flow of your product. So together with your landing page and your Figma prototype, you can start to engage people.
And, and I
You send
suppose,
people. Mhm.
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was going to say, I imagine that then you're also building a sales pipeline for once you do go live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I know that
Mhm.
Appomate, you have a whole like, is it? I forget the name of it. Like the startup boot camp that you've
Mhm.
been running. Is that the
Yeah.
name of the project?
Yeah. We called it the Germinate.
Right.
The Germinate Startup Bootcamp. We have made some changes to it. Now we have realized that bootcamp trying to get people together at the same time is not the best approach for the type of customers that we work with,
Right.
because a lot of the founders that we work with are like you. They are having another business on the side, or they are working full
Mm,
time, and they're building the startups on the side as a side
mm,
hustle until they
mm.
get to a stage where they can then completely free themselves and switch, right?
Yep.
So given that's pretty much majority of our founders, it was hard to get everyone at the same time at the same place.
Right.
So now we have kind of changed that bootcamp into a more of a one-on-one type coaching, mentoring, help program, rather than
Right.
being as a group.
And just as a nice blatant bit of marketing, how people who are watching this podcast who are interested, how do they get reach out and get involved in the Appomate Germinate program?
Yeah, just go to our website, appomate.com.au, and yeah, just reach out to us using one of the contact forms. And one of my team members, Zain or Joe, mostly they will reach out to you, and we'll find out what's the best step for you. It might be the help fundraising program, or it might be just helping you do that landing page and some validation, or in some case, it's really doing some market research and product strategy.
Oh, great.
So yeah, so like I see 5 different core paths in what we do, right? The initial step is the market research. So just researching other competition. Is there really a problem? How much does people want this? Will people pay for this? That's your
Mm,
research,
mm.
right? And then you build a strategy, a product strategy, right?
Yep.
Okay, we know there is a market for it. We've done the research. We know there is a big enough problem for this, and people are ready to pay for this.
Yep.
But what's going to be our strategy in terms of how we position this product in the market?
Mm, mm.
Right? Because that could be other apps. There might be directly competing apps, but there'll be some alternative solutions, right?
Yep.
So how are you going to introduce yourself in the market,
Mm,
right?
mm,
What's your unique selling proposition compared to other players in the market?
mm.
Even if there is no other apps that is doing exactly what you're doing, there will be other alternatives, right?
Yep.
People might be using spreadsheet as an option, or they're not solving the problem, right? So
Mm.
what's your strategy to change people's behavior from how they are handling that problem now to using your product, right?
Yeah.
What's going to be your pricing? What's going to be your revenue model? What's best suited for your customers, right? So thinking about the strategy again. So we do the research, we do the strategy, and then we do the design, the prototype, right?
Sounds like you've really nailed, and obviously with 14 years of having done this, you've got the experience of realizing that
Yeah,
if founders and startups don't have all of this in place, they haven't got market fit, they haven't done their business analysis enough to be able
yeah,
to validate the demand for their product,
yeah,
then there's almost no point really going to market with some kind of app and
yeah,
spending lots
yeah,
and lots of dollars on an app because they're just going to be dissatisfied or they're not going to see the revenue that they were expecting.
mhm,
So it's cool to hear that Appomate's developed this whole program.
yeah.
I suppose a question would be, what's your experience of the founders who start that program and realize during the program, oh, actually there isn't really a
Yeah,
market fit, and then they
yeah,
drop out. Uh,
yeah.
What's the percentage of people who actually make it to say, cool, now we're ready to actually engage and build an app?
Yeah, I would say majority, at least 60% would actually do the design and realize they need to make some change to their strategy or some changes to the product.
Mm,
And yeah, probably only the remaining 40% actually go ahead into the actual development of the project.
that's really
I
interesting.
would say it's a 60-40 split at the moment,
Wow.
which I think is better than what most development agencies do, what we used to do before 7 years is you have an idea, let's go build it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So instead of spending 50, 100, 200K on product development, you spend 15, 20K and do the research and strategy, and then you make an informed decision on,
Yeah.
do I go ahead with this, or do I go and make some change and pivot the direction of where I'm going?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great, and it's I appreciate what you're saying because I remember when with TreeCoin we were first going out to tenders for potential app development partners,
Yeah.
and we certainly hadn't nailed 100% of our validation, but we were 80%, 85% confident of the market demand and our validation. And given that we all came from already having started and built successful companies in the past, the whole team, we knew that we had the business capacity and the networking to just build a company. So I can imagine that there would be some founders who are very new, like not just new to an app or an idea of a business, but new to business completely. Like someone who might be maybe they've worked retail their whole life as an employee. They've had an idea of, if only there was an app that would do this thing better. And maybe now they're in their mid-40s and they've got a great idea and they're going to put savings towards it, but they've never been in business. They'd have no idea about running a business. Like that would be interesting, those people compared to the seasoned business people. Like for example, if Commonwealth Bank came to you and said, we have we'd love to make an app for this specific thing. You almost can say, right, you obviously know how to run a business. Are they very different? And do you get all of those different people come through your program?
Yeah, definitely. We have all these different types of people. But I want to just touch base on one of the comments you just made, like in that statement was, even with TreeCoin, we haven't done 100% validation, right? It's just never possible to do 100% validation. Right?
That's true.
You can only reduce the probability of success. You can impact the probability of failure success by doing the validation, but nothing is going to guarantee your success, right? That's the hard pill to swallow in the startup world, right?
That's the entrepreneur's journey, right?
Like Google has billions of dollars of budget to do validation. Microsoft has these companies have unlimited budget to validation, but still every year they have product launches that fail. Google spent billions of dollars trying to launch a product similar to Facebook. And after like 3 years of trying it, they had to give up. Right, and same with Apple, same with Microsoft. Every year they launch half of their products, they just shut it down because it's just they're not able to make it viable. And that's not for lack of resources or for lack of validation. You really can't be 100% certain what the market response is going to be, and that together with the level of resources that you have and all the other options that you have, you go, I can keep trying more, but I'm going to go towards this pathway. So you kind of have to choose that option. I'm sure, like taking that Google as an example, if Google kept banging on about that Facebook similar product, they would have got somewhere with it. But at some point they go, how much time are we going to put on this? Are we better off, spending our time on the next AI product that we need to build? And you need to stop that and move on.
What's the ROI for them?
Exactly. And same with the founders that we work with. Like, even after doing this prototype and validation, it doesn't guarantee product success for them.
Of course.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work. I mean, it keeps changing. I know that with TreeCoin, the core idea hasn't changed, but we through the feedback process, once we had a live product, we had to be constantly adding features and changing features when we had feedback from the users in our sales pipeline who said, this is great, but we actually need these 5 extra things.
Exactly.
And so we were constantly having to cycle back into product development, testing, validating that new product development.
Totally. And I talked about like the 2 factors that would decide the pathway a founder might take. Right. One is like where they're at in their journey, right? And who the founder is, what their background is. Like, it's about the founder itself, where they're at. The second thing is the nature of the product itself, right? So some product would be completely new to the market, right? It's a full brand new concept. It needs complete testing and validation. It's full R&D focus, right? So that the traditional validation approach might not work for that, right? People haven't seen anything like that before, right? So in some scenario, the only way to validate is to have a product, because people can't get their head around without seeing the product, because it's such a new concept, right? Whereas the complete opposite of that would be, you are launching a product that's just so established market-wise and competition-wise, right? Trying to launch a accounting app as an example. And people still do that, right? You have Xero, you have Myope, you have all these billion-dollar app, accounting app companies. but there is still new accounting app that comes out, right?
Mm.
In that case, it's not about validation of your idea. Like, hey, accounting app, everybody needs it. Everybody is ready to pay. It's
Yes.
totally about how is your app going to be different.
Yeah.
How is your business model and strategy going to be unique compared to these other players? What's going to be your positioning? Who is your target market? What slice of the market are you planning? That's all very strategic,
Yep.
right? So your focus is not on validation at all. Your focus is completely on what's my go-to-market strategy here? How am I going to differentiate myself? What am I offering that's different to all these Myob and Zero and everyone? Like, you can still go to that market and create a successful business. But now it's not about validation of the idea, but it's about your differentiation, your strategy, your market.
How are you going to penetrate the market with your differentiation?
So that's why the pathway can look completely different. But at a high level, it's the research, it's getting to know your strategy, then doing your prototype on your landing page to create some initial early traction and some market feedback, and then you actually build your product, and then you internally test it, and you usually launch it to a beta test group. So we call it a soft launch. We call it a soft launch for TreeCoin. We have some test users or early users who's ready to use your app and give you some feedback. And then when you're happy with the product, you go to a public launch, and then you spend some money on marketing. You get a bigger market adoption. That's generally the overall process.
And it's good, talking about TreeCoin. Yeah, that was the process that TreeCoin had to follow, and we did find that back in 2019, 2020 was when I was really putting the idea together, and then Damien joins the team, and we formed the company in early 2020, and then you come along quite early in that journey. And there were a handful of other competing similar ideas, but we found that the whole concept was very novel to the market, and we did struggle to do traditional validation. People kept saying, "Oh, you mean it's like this?" And we'd say, "No, all of these are the old way of doing it." And so we did end up deciding, well, let's just build an MVP, and we'll keep it thin on the ground, and we'll try it out. And even I would say it wasn't until about 3.5 years after we'd started the company that we actually were ready for a more public launch outside of our soft launch. With Appomate's assistance. And that was really fascinating because I hadn't run. Well, given my other companies, they're very bread and butter companies. Like you said, I mean, IT asset management is not a new idea. I didn't have to convince clients that it's a great idea. They were looking for it anyway. And I wedged what the differentiation points were and the high quality and the high customer service. So this was my first time running a company. The people didn't actually know, and we had to throw marketing. It was like fishing, but in the future. We had to throw marketing ahead to pre-create the demand that we were going to be ready for once we had the software developed. And I found that just fascinating, trying to convince the public that this was a good idea. And at the same time then say, have you heard about this great idea? By the way, we have this really good idea, and we have an answer to that really good idea. Really funny. So can I ask a question? If we loop to say, let's say that founders have come through Appomate and through the Germinate program. We'll put the link. So audience, if you're interested, we'll make sure that in the text description here in YouTube or LinkedIn where we put these videos, we'll make sure the marketing team put up the direct link to the Appomate program, so you can go check that out. But let's say that a founder's gone through, they've done their validation process with you, and they and the Appomate team are very confident, you've got a good idea, we can see a good market fit. I think you'd be in a good chance for success. So then tell us about what happens then. They move into the category where they've almost ticked off the validation from your end. Does Appomate say, okay, now we're gonna build a Figma prototype, and or is that part of validation?
The Figma prototype is usually part of the validation,
right?
Because like if you think about validation, there is three main things that I talk about in terms of validation. One is your problem validation, right? Is the problem big enough for people wanting to solve this problem, right? That's a very initial validation, right? Then you actually have your solution validation, right? Is this product that we are hoping to design actually address the problem, right? Because you might have validated the problem, but what you're
The wrong
building might
solution.
not be the right solution for the
Yep.
problem. People
Yep.
might not be able to link this solution to the problem. You
Yeah.
think this solution is the answer to the problem, but your users think, nah, what I'm doing is actually way better, easier, simpler.
Yeah.
The switch is too hard, too big for me, right? So you need to validate your solution. And for that is what you need the Figma for. Right, to validate, okay, I know there's a problem through my surveys and customer interviews and landing page. I know people want this. And through my Figma and the feedback from customers on my Figma, I know people believe this will be a solution to the problem,
Yep.
right? And then you have your market fit or go-to-market validation, right? That's another high level, right? Which is like your marketing message being validated, right? When you talk about this, can people connect with that, right? If you put an ad on Facebook, would actually people click on that link
Yep.
and come to your page,
Yep.
right? Because sometimes you validate the problem, you build the solution, but some founders, it took too long to find a message that resonates with the market.
Yeah.
You have the market, they're trying to spend money on marketing. Like, why is no one getting it? And then it's 6 months, 12 months, you've been trying so hard.
Yep.
You got your first fight in customers through your own interactions,
Networks.
personal B2B sales.
Yeah.
But with app, you need to go beyond that, right? As a founder, you can't just get your 1,000 customers all through direct sales.
No, it's got to be
The
online.
online marketing needs to work.
Yep.
Right? The online messaging needs to work. So that's another separate validation that you can do, right? So anyway, if people have done the product and the solution validation, then we kind of go and build a product plan estimation of how long it's going to take, how much it's going to cost to build the product. And typically it's 4 to 5 months for most of the projects that we do. Some projects are quicker, 2 months. Some projects are longer if it's really big, but average I would say 4 to 5 months of development.
Right.
And then after we go live, we help them with ongoing kind of support and maintenance after that.
Okay, so I saw you say if it was 4 to 5 months, it's an average turnaround for the development. That's because they've already got Figma prototypes built, and the framework of the UX and UI is mostly built. Right. Yeah, nice. Okay, so then as a founder, and you say I think you said your rough estimate was about 40% of the people who go through of the 100% who start, 40% of them will get to the end and say, "Yep, this is a really valid idea. I want to put my savings." Because that would be honest, I mean, a lot of the founders, if they think this is a good idea and they're entrepreneurs, they're either putting up their own savings and capital to get started, or they're bringing in shareholders who are often going to be business contacts or colleagues or family and friends. So they've really got to feel confident about the dollars of other people responsible. And so they come to you and they say, and you go, great, this is a good idea. We've got the Figma. So they build it for, let's say it's 4 or 5 months. And then they go out. Tell me about your experience of the founder's journey at that point. Because I imagine that Appomate, as an app development partner, would say, we've built it, let's now help you maintain it. We'll enter into a maintenance relationship. And then obviously like TreeCoin, if I'm making my accounting app, and then I start to get user feedback that says, hey, this is great, but we need these 10 other graphs. Or could I have a button here that downloads my transactions? I'm obviously the founder and their team. They need to come back to Appomate and say, we need to do more development. It's kind of like it's maintenance plus it's additional sprints for feature development. So of the amount who start, that 40%, how many would you say get through the next couple of years of that process? I'm imagining that it trips down, like the pyramid is quite sharp, right?
Definitely the pyramid is sharp. In terms of the marketing and stuff, like over the 10 years of being in business, we are constantly learning on what is important in the journey. Right. So when we started the business, like I said, we weren't even doing design. It's directly, you have an idea, let's build it. Coding, I had a developer background when I started. So I had friends who are developers. So the whole thing is, and still majority of the market, that's how it works. You have an idea, you go to a developer, they build it, right? But we realized that's too hard. There's too many things to think about if you just jump into development. So we learned from experience and we introduced this whole design process or see it before you build it process, which is prototype and being able to see the product before you build it, right? But then we decided even that's not enough because you're still making an assumptions around market research and if there is a demand for it, and whether this. So that's when then we later on we added the market research part and the strategy part, and again we found out a lot of those people go live and then they don't know how to go to market,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And we are constantly, I've been constantly changing the business model and what we do with the intention of why is this client, not successful? How can they be more successful faster?
Yep.
And that's my kind of guide for constantly making changes to the business.
Yep.
So the last maybe almost a year and a half, almost coming to 2 years now, we also started doing some marketing and go-to-market help for our clients.
Which makes sense, right? Because it's a win-win. Like
Yeah,
if as a development company you've got a really high success rate of
yeah,
your clients and
yeah,
5-star reviews on App Store and
yeah,
hundreds of
yeah,
thousands of users, obviously that's a win to the development
yeah,
company. I imagine that
yeah,
a development company that says, "Oh, we've got 10,000 customers, but only 3 of them became
mm,
successful."
mm, yeah,
That might be good income and dollars in the short term, but
yeah,
they're not there to become repeat customers or to come back and enter into
yeah,
long-term relationships with you.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
imagine that must be fun. Like when you've got a couple of clients that are
yeah, yeah,
long-term, and
mm,
you get to see the journey.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's
That's,
fun, right?
that's the most rewarding part.
Yeah.
We have a client in the education space, and he launched the app during the COVID time,
Oh, yeah.
right? So he spent maybe about under 100K to build his product. He launched it, but soon after launching, he realized the schools are wanting things that he hadn't built,
Mm.
right? So he actually put a full-time developer and a full-time tester. So he
Yep.
had 2 people full-time on his project,
Yep.
started implementing the customer feedback and everything.
Mm.
So it's been 4 years since he started that process. They have over 300 schools
Yeah.
using the app
Amazing.
across Australia at the moment. So he doesn't have any investor. He bootstrapped the whole thing. That's a really good success story for us. And yeah,
Mm.
and he's quite profitable at the moment. And
Good on him.
his only employee is he have one person who does some sales and customer
Yeah.
support with him, and
Yep.
he has 2 developers with us.
That's
So
great.
it's a 4-person $1 million plus,
Yeah.
business that is profitable.
And well done to him, and well done to Appomate for the support taking
Yeah.
him in that direction. And that
Mm.
just because I'm aware of the time, so I will start to wrap it up. But that is something that I was gonna say, because as opposed to some other traditional markets and industries, if someone wants to set up a big factory, lots of staff, or construction company, lots of staff, lots of manual labor,
Yeah.
tech, app
Yeah.
development, websites, good ideas, they can often be quite lean. That you
Mm.
can often run a multi-million-dollar company with just a team of 5 or 6 people.
Yeah.
And I imagine it's great to have contract relationships with developers. So like Appomate,
Mm.
obviously is a big company,
Yeah.
but a customer might only need 1 or 2 developers full time.
Yeah.
They don't need Appomate's 50
Yeah.
team of hardcore
Yeah.
SQL developers tomorrow. It could just
Yeah.
be 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that gives you the agility as a tech company to be able to keep costs down for your customer, make apps
Yeah.
quite affordable,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
something that I think is quite unique to the tech industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's true. It's true. And there is, like, within tech world, you have just businesses of all types,
Right.
right? You have everything imaginable within the tech world. You know, I heard about this AI calorie app. I'm not sure if you heard of this new app called AI Cal.
No?
It's basically when calorie calculation is a big space in the app,
Yep.
being able to input your food and calculate your calorie. So there's this new app in the market where you can just take a photo of your food, and then it just image recognition, AI reading, and then it guesses the calorie,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And it's just built by one developer. He
Wow.
doesn't have any employees, and I heard they went up to $30 million in
Yeah.
revenue with
Yeah.
just like 2 or 3 people on the team. So
Yeah.
that's there, but that's not the most common story, right?
Yeah.
There are companies which do it the opposite way. They just hire a bunch of people. It takes 5-7 years before they even break even
Mm.
their cost, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about all the big apps, Uber and all those things, that's the approach they take. They go for big, they raise a lot of money for funding, and they have 30 people, 100 people, 200 people very soon early on in their company, and
Yeah.
they're just burning money like
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
So the opposite is also very true for tech world. You
Right.
can
Right.
be lean, but you can just be burning so much money and just just after spending 10 million, $20 million, you realize, okay, this business is not going anywhere, and you shut
Yeah.
down. That's a pretty not a very uncommon story in the tech
Right.
world as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But everything is available. It's about like knowing your preference, your pathway, and then just sticking to that, and also understanding your nature of your business and whether that pathway is going to be suitable for that.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
we talked about like this accounting app as an example. If you're going after that, you're against Zero and
Yeah.
Myob. You will
QuickBooks.
need a reasonable marketing budget to be able to launch a product like that in the market,
Yeah.
right? So if you think you're going to launch that but no marketing budget and be super lean and spend no marketing, it might be pretty hard to establish a
Yep.
space in the market, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the balance between the nature of your business and what your priority, what your vision is, why you are doing the app. So that's one of the questions that I ask the founders, like, what do you want to create here? Are you wanting to create like a lifestyle business that can just support you and it's a long-term business, you're making money, you can switch off from your current business or your employment, and this app is helping you have a lifestyle? Or you're trying to build something big quickly and exit in 5 years time? Like, what's your intention?
Yep.
And yeah, and so that's a very
Mm.
important question to ask as a founder.
Yeah. Ah, look,
Mm.
it's been a great chat, Brett. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it. Always enjoy our chats. Love that you're one of our big shareholders in TreeCoin, and the constant relationship that TreeCoin gets to have with you and your team, and
Yeah.
just the experience that you have worldwide with tech and with apps and building. We feel in it's a great relationship. So thank you again, and always appreciate it. Guys,
Yeah.
we'll put the links to Appomate, and I assume Appomate has like a landing page for Germinate program, or people can just get in touch with you through the contact form.
Yeah, please get in touch with us. Like I said, the Germinate program, because of the nature of founders, we are doing it more as a one-on-one thing now rather than as a group program. We have kind of integrated that as part of our whole validation process. But yeah, we'll just put the website there, and people can get in touch with us.
Excellent.
And yeah, thanks for having me. It's been such a pleasure, like working with TreeCoin, just being part of the journey. And yeah, what you guys are trying to create is not what we are trying to create with TreeCoin is important work. So I'm looking forward to seeing where we are going, and
Yeah, the next big steps.
yeah, next
Awesome.
big steps, and more forest across the world.
Yeah, more forest. Thanks so much, Brett. And for everyone at home, join us next time for the next episode. Ciao, ciao.